Premier Clark is under fire for photography expenses at the Paris Climate Conference last fall. Yes, Environment Minister Catherine McKenna isn't the only politician under fire for billing taxpayers to have a professional photographer document their meeting to save the climate. The total bill for BC taxpayers will be coming in at $5,413, which is pretty similar to the $6,600 or so McKenna billed the taxpayer on the same trip. So why couldn't they just team up and use the same photographer? Surely Christy Clark has enough federal Liberal staffers working in the Premier's office that they could figure something out. Or perhaps not. You see, the Premier already has 2 full-time photographers. Yes, Christy has been using full-time photographers before it was cool, Justin. But the fun ends when you see what this has been costing the British Columbia taxpayer. Clark has been Premier for 5 years now, and the 2 photographers, Kyle Servoy and Justin Schneider, have racked up nearly $270,000 in travel expenses alone over those 5 years. And then when you throw in their annual salaries of $65,000 and $72,000 respectively, over those 5 years, the bill comes out to just short of $1 million at $923,374. Don't those salaries feel high to you as far as being a professional photographer? Nice work if you can get it, I guess. Look, I understand that as an elected official, you want to communicate your message effectively and professionally to the people you serve. The Conservative Party and Stephen Harper did it via their 24/7 series to update us on the Prime Minister each week. But when you see no effort in Paris to streamline and possibly save money for taxpayers, you have to ask yourself, what would the public have missed out on without these camera people? Probably nothing. The press still carry cameras. And really, in this day and age of social media, what's stopping politicians from using their smartphones? The photos you can take with them don't really show much difference in quality compared to a professional with a digital SLR, at least not in my opinion. And what's stopping these politicians from engaging on social media via pictures on Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter? Why the need for overpriced, overpaid public servants to take photos of our politicians? You know, in the city of Toronto and in the province of Alberta, all receipts of expenses filed by politicians must be scanned and posted online for all to review. This forces politicians and their staff to think about how various expenses will be received by the taxpayer. But so far, much like our Wild West of campaign finance rules, the BC government seems reluctant to adopt such a policy or even review the photography expenses for Paris, as McKenna said she would. Should we really be surprised, though? The Premier has billed taxpayers $500,000 since becoming Premier, just for the use of private jets. Most of the trips were between Vancouver and Kelowna, where she is the current MLA. If you recall, the Premier lost her seat on election night here in Vancouver and had to stand in a by-election in Kelowna in order to have a seat in the legislature. So after 15 years in power, perhaps the BC Liberals just think they can get away with this stuff. I mean, after all, the NDP can't seem to break their hold on power, despite a pretty scandalous and sometimes downright corrupt BC Liberal government. So coming up on our next election in 2017, will things change? Well, I'm not sure yet, but I hope I can do what I can to keep the Premier and the BC Liberals to account. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson.
Thanks for watching. Click here to never miss a Rebel update. Want even more of the Rebel? Well, click here to become a premium member.